But Jum'ah was the largest gathering of Muslims. But outside of that, the masjid was actually supposed to become a natural part of our life. And so let's first understand what that was. Allah Azza wa Jal gave us these 5 prayers that we have to establish. And in order to establish them, Allah Himself says, وَآخَرُونَ يَضْرِبُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ يَبْتَغُونَ مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ. There are people that are traveling, pursuing Allah's favor. There are people that are traveling, meaning they're not in one place. They keep moving from one place to another. And even to them, He says, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. Establish the salah, and give zakah. So now Allah knows that you're not always going to be nearby a standard large masjid. You're going to be traveling, you're going to be at an airport, you're going to be at a hospital, you're going to be at a clinic, you're going to be at your business and all these other places. So what did the Muslims do early on, and what was the spirit of our religion? It was that actually any place you are, your place of business, should at least have some consideration where you can pray, where you can have a prayer. So for example, the Malaysians have a really good understanding of this, and it's actually very much in line with the spirit of our religion. If somebody's working at an office and the masjid is 15 minutes away, 15-minute walk away, right? If they leave for 15 minutes and go pray for 15 minutes and then come back 15 minutes, they're gone for 45 minutes for Dhuhr prayer, right? So they didn't even take lunch, they just went and prayed Dhuhr. And then an hour later, Asr was gonna come in. And they're gonna go for 15 minutes, pray Asr 15 minutes, come back 15 minutes. Now they're gone, they're gonna be out of a job in 3 days, right? That's the reality of it, right? And there are people that are commuting to work. They're commuting to work, and because they're commuting to work, it may be possible for them to pray Fajr in the masjid and be able to get to their workplace. And it may not be. It may be by the time they make it to the masjid and get out, the bus is gone, they're not going to get to their job, they're out of a job again, right? So our religion, and some people feel like, oh my, I feel so guilty, I'm not able to go to the masjid because I wasn't able to make it to the jama'ah in the masjid. What was the solution to that? Actually, Allah did not ordain that huge structures will be built where you have to go 5 times. In fact, like I was referring to the Malaysians, what they've done is they had this ordinance where in basically every big building, there has to be one apartment or one space designated as a surau, a place to pray, the Malays call it, right? So it's 3 o'clock, everybody knows in the building, they just come down to that place, they make salah and they go, and somebody came later, they have a place to pray. Just like, I think in London airport, they also have a prayer area, right? And this was supposed to be everywhere. So if a Muslim is building a restaurant, a halal restaurant, obviously there are going to be some customers that are going to come in maybe an hour before Maghrib, and then it's going to be Maghrib time. And if you're building your business and you just have a place where people can pray comfortably, a little musalla on the side, this is also the masajid of Allah. This is not, the masjid is not only the grand structures, the masjids are also these small places where you've made it convenient for you to be able to pray, right? And they're also considered important parts of establishing the salah. So the first thing I want to make clear is that there isn't supposed to be some kind of a major guilt for you that you didn't make it to the grand masjid for every single prayer and therefore you're less of a Muslim. That's not the case. Allah Himself has acknowledged that salah happens in different situations. In fact, even in states of war, Allah says, فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ فَرِجَالًا أَوْ رُكْبَانًا. If you're in a state of fear, you can even pray while you're walking, Allah says. أَوْ رُكْبَانًا. Or you're riding on an animal and you're scared that if you come down from the horse or the animal, you're going to get shot or stabbed or an arrow is going to be... You can make salah while you're still riding on the animal. أَوْ رُكْبَانًا. And the amazing thing about that ayah is the animal is riding between the mountains, right? Or is riding towards a destination. That the road between the mountains is not facing the Qibla. It's facing whatever direction you're going in. And you're running, maybe the Qibla is towards the enemy, the people that are trying to rob you, and you're getting away from them, right? So now you're facing away, and Allah is still accepting that salah because Allah acknowledges in the Quran human beings can be in different situations. But no matter what situation they're in, they still need to establish salah. They still need to connect with Allah. Right? So that's one thing that I wanted to share as a reminder, because sometimes in our communities we develop guilt over something that Allah doesn't need us to feel. Allah doesn't want us to feel guilty about something, and you're carrying that guilt for no reason, and you start thinking about yourself, I'm a lesser Muslim. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring to your attention is, why are masjids built anyway? What's the purpose? The obvious purpose is so we have a place to pray together, like this beautiful Jumu'ah gathering. But there's a deeper purpose, and that purpose was described by Allah Himself in Surah At-Tawbah. There's only one ayah in the Quran that describes the purpose for which masjids are built. Only one ayah. And it was given in Surah At-Tawbah, which is one of the last surahs to be revealed in the entire Quran. So 23 years of revelation, Allah didn't talk about building masajid. And He talks about it at the very end. Very, very end. Why? Because there's several reasons. One of them is the Kaaba is the first masjid. And the Kaaba had to be purified first. So now that the Kaaba has been purified, the idols have been destroyed, the original masjid is now restored. The house built by Ibrahim alayhi salam as the first masjid, Inna awwala baytin wudi'a lin-nas lalladhi bi Bakkah, has now been restored. Now that that's been restored, now it's time to talk about all the other satellite masajid and how they should be built and what should be done with them. And the word Allah used for building is what I wanted to highlight again, just so you appreciate something deep about it. And that is, Allah used the word ya'muru, innama ya'muru masajid Allah. That's how the ayah begins. That the ones who build, we translate that as they build the masajid, the plural of masjid, the masajid that are owned by Allah, masajid Allah. In fact, before I talk about ya'muru, briefly I'll talk to you about the word ya'muru, or about the word masajid Allah. You see, when I say this is my house, that means I decide the furniture. That means I have the locks and keys. I decide who comes in, I decide who goes out. And you can say things like, I don't tolerate this in my house, or we don't bring that in my house, or we don't have these things in my house, etc., etc. I don't want a dog in my house. I don't want this loud music in my house. I don't want that in my house. You have the authority in that house, right? When you say it's the house of Allah, or the masjid that belongs to Allah, and the masajid lillah, and here the idafa, masajid Allah, what does that mean? It's not just that it's Allah's house, that the only thing that is acceptable here is what is acceptable to Allah. And nothing that is not acceptable to Allah can be done inside of Allah's house. My preferences no longer matter. My pride no longer matters. The only thing that matters is this is a place where sajda is done only to Allah. The word masjid is a dharf from the word sajada. And sajda means to put your face on the ground. Sajda means to humble yourself, right? So Allah is saying this is a place where humility can only be shown to Allah. You know, at home, you're the head of the house, there should be some humility shown to you. At the office, you're the manager, there should be some humility shown to you. In the classroom, you're the teacher, there should be some humility shown to you. It's necessary. In the military, you're the captain, your squadron needs to show some humility to you. If you're the general, your army needs to show some humility to you.